What's going on, everybody? Today we back working on the E36. Today I actually got a major upgrade that I've been needing to do since the last dyno, and I got a few other stuff that I need to do before the dyno just to make sure everything's in tip-top shape. Here I got some new oil. I'm gonna do an oil change real quick because I looked at a video when I actually just finished the swap, and I'm about to be at about 4,000 miles with the previous oil change after the break-in, because I did 500 on the break-in and then about 4,000. So I'm gonna do that. This injectors, I'm looking at these. The exhaust manifolds got pinched the last time when I was doing the transmission last weekend. The driver's side manifold, because I have to let go of the driver's side header to pull the transmission. When I did that, it got pinched. Now I have a slight exhaust leak, so I'm gonna throw in a new exhaust manifold gasket. Do this last, and I also got a new OEM knock sensor harness because I've been chasing a knock sensor code. I replaced the knock sensors at the dyno. Nothing was out of the ordinary. There was no knock, so I'm gonna change the harness. Hopefully that takes care of it. It's been annoying the hell out of me. And last but not least, I got D-Schweik's injectors. These are the 42 pounds, or if you look at them, they actually say 440 cc's, if you can see that. But yeah, I got them 42 pounds. I actually have to look to see if they're rated at 42 pounds at 43 psi or 58, because I was running 58 psi before, and if these are rated at 43, then I need to turn down my fuel pressure. Yep, so let's get to work. Yeah, I think the first thing I'm gonna do is the oil change, and while I'm down there, I'm gonna loosen up the V-band for the header to give it enough wiggle room to kind of come back and allow me to get the exhaust gasket out. If you can see, that's where, I'm not sure if you guys can see, that's where it got pinched, and that's where it's leaking from now. Actually, yeah, you can see the exhaust escaping right there. So we're gonna get that taken care of. So I got the V-bands loose, and I actually got the rear bolt on the header loosened up right there. I got it loosened up, backed out a little bit. I think it's gonna be enough because this header is a pain in the ass. The clearance is real tight, so it's not a lot of space, and I actually don't have my ratchet in 10, so it's making me take even a lot longer. But my plan is I'm gonna try and just loosen up the bolts and pull the old gasket out, and I want to try and slot the holes for the new gasket, because I slot these to be able to just drop it down onto the gasket, onto the bolts that's, in the head. Then this will still seal up. So even if I slot this is still going to be completely sealed, so it won't cause an exhaust gasket leak, and it will make it a lot more serviceable. So that's the plan. I'm gonna try it out, see how it goes. Okay, this gasket set actually works out perfect. They must know. They know. So you see, this one is already slotted on the ends, and honestly, the old gasket like this one, let me show you. This was like the multi-layered one, and it was so strong. It was hard. It was real hard to break them around the bolt holes. It was breaking around the flanges for the exhaust before it would break the bolt holes. So I actually ended up taking out all the bolts anyways, except for the front one and the back one to keep it lined up. I just had those loosened. So this one actually should work out perfect because it's already slotted. I'm gonna just go ahead and drop that down in there, and hopefully I can catch all the bolts. This honestly is probably the most, I wouldn't say hardest, the most annoying part of this job that I'm gonna do today is this driver side header. The passenger side, I could pull that one in and out all day long. This driver side is a pain in the ass, and what's crazy is the driver side is the one that always needs to get service, not the passenger side. But that's how it goes, I guess. Oh yeah. No, that's perfect. Yes, sir. Fool. So I'm gonna try and catch those middle ones first, and catch those. Cooking with gas. Okay. Alright, so I don't know if y'all can tell, but I got the new exhaust manifold gasket in there. Like I said, this was just a lot, takes a lot longer than it really should, but hey, it is what it is. I wanted to get that out the way, so that was really the hardest part of today. So I got that out the way. That's good. The oil change is done. Got to put the oil in it. But I'm gonna take a, yeah. But I'm gonna go in here and eat dinner. Having tacos tonight, so I'm gonna go in here eat some food and then come back out. When I come back out, I'll knock out the knock sensor harness and the fuel injectors. And I gotta look up too to see if I need to adjust my fuel pressure while I'm in there eating. I'm gonna do that. So I'll be right back. All right, so starting off, the first step for pulling off the manifold, obviously, is pulling the intake manifold. And I say it all the time, other than the exhaust manifold gasket, the LS swap on the E36 is really, really serviceable. So I did the intake piping, you know, and the air filter and everything, and then disconnected the harness for the throttle body, throttle position sensor and stuff like that. After I got that done, I went ahead and disconnected all 8 of the injectors. All right, so after getting everything unplugged and getting the intake pipe off, the next step was to remove the fuel lines. I have my fuel system routed to where the regulator is after both of my fuel rails, so that way the regulator is adjusting the fuel pressure after the rails. So I go ahead and release the return line coming from the rail back to the regulator, and then after I got that removed, I went ahead and removed the fuel line, the feed fuel line that was coming up from the fuel filter up to the driver's side fuel rail. And then after that was disconnected, it was just the 4 Allen bolts to hold the rails down, and rail came up smooth and easy. All right, with the rails off, the next step was to get the bolts loose for the intake manifold. I'm sure a lot of you noticed in the last clips with me pulling the rails, I didn't use AN wrenches. I do have a set of AN wrenches for my AN lines, but I let my dad borrow them because he was redoing the fuel system on his LS1 S10, so I used a crescent wrench. But do as I say, not as I do. Use an AN wrench and save your lines. If you do have to use a crescent wrench, just use a rag or something so you don't mark up your fittings. So yeah, coming back to the manifold, I got all the bolts loose that hold the manifold down. After that, it was just removing the throttle body cable bracket. And once I got that removed, the manifold came up real easy, real fast. Just got everything cleaned up and on to the next step. All right, moving on to the knock sensor harness. This one was actually a little bit of work to get the grommets removed from the valley cover, because me being the paranoid person that I am, I put too much RTV trying to make sure that it's sealed all the way and no water was able to get down into the knock sensors. But with the harness being so old and brittle and everything, the grommets just kept breaking away and cracking as I was trying to get them removed from the valley cover. But they ended up working with me, so everything came unplugged, everything came undone the way it was supposed to be, so glad about that. All right, so this harness was, yeah, it was messed up. I don't think it was supposed to come out that easy, because this one didn't come out that easy. You know what I'm saying? When I popped the cover off, the connection for inside the connector actually came out with it. So, and just feeling it just feels all hard and brittle, and it's like you can like kind of hear it cracking and stuff. So I think that's gonna solve the issue. So let's just go ahead, throw the new one on, throw the manifold back on, and then we can get to those injectors. All right, so the new knock sensor is installed, plugged in. Didn't record going back in. It's just real basic and simple. But I will say, if it's your first time doing knock sensors on the LS, make sure you RTV the grommets. It's not to stop oil from leaking out. It's really to stop water and stuff from getting in. This is with the down in the valley. If you wash your engine off or whatever, all the water and stuff will run down in there. And if it's not RTV, that can leak in. So just keep that in mind. All right, so moving forward, I started to install the new D-Shrex injectors. As everybody should know, if you don't know, make sure you lube all your injectors whenever you're replacing them. That way you're not pinching and tearing them as you're installing them down into the manifold and up into the rail. So got all 8 injectors lubed up and installed. Then I went ahead and started to install both of the fuel rails. You'll see later on I did have a small little issue with the fuel leak, but it was nothing major. So I went ahead, got those down, got the rails tightened down, and I installed the feed line from the fuel filter up to the rails and the return line over to the regulator. And after all of that, I dropped the car back down to the ground. And the last 2 steps that I had to do to finish everything up to start it, I wanted to drain the catch can after doing the oil change. And also I wanted to, not wanted to, but had to, put oil in it. So put oil in it. And then it was time to prime the system, make sure we don't have any leaks, and go from there. All right, so I was having an issue with number 7. The number 7 injector was leaking. I got a little worried, thinking that I might have pinched the O-ring, but I did lube everything up how I was supposed to. But it wasn't that. At least I primed it once and it didn't leak. I'm gonna prime it a few more times and see. But the slots for the rails, the brackets for the rails are slotted, so I just had to shift the back slot over a little bit, and it got the injector to seat all the way. So I think that took care of the problem. Alright, so we all back together. She's good to go. New injectors in, new knock sensor harness, new exhaust manifold, new oil. Like I said, I was having an issue with the number 7 injector. That one kept leaking, but when I realized the brackets were slotted, I don't know why I didn't remember this from the last time, but the brackets were slotted, and in the back, let me grab the light. No. Oh. Yeah, so the brackets are slotted, and it was too far in, so the rail was actually hitting that bolt right there, so it wasn't allowing it to seat completely onto the injector. So move that over, and it was all good after that. No more leaks. It's holding fuel pressure. I adjusted the fuel pressure down because they're rated at 42 pounds at 43. I was running 58 with the last set of injectors, so I turned those down. Everything's good. Did a once over check again, and she's ready for the dyno tomorrow. So. Alright, so it's been a few days. I did make it to the dyno. We didn't finish tuning it because it was doing the same breaking up at between like 5,000 and 5,500. This time, supposedly, it threw the code for the mass airflow sensor. He did show me that. I don't know why that didn't come up the last time, or if he didn't check it the last time. But anyway, so they came up with the code for the mass airflow sensor. I left the dyno, put a mass airflow sensor in it, and now the car runs fine. It revs all the way out to 6,800, pulls strong the whole way through, no breaking up, no nothing. Honestly, I don't think I'm gonna go back to him to get my car tuned, because not even the mass airflow sensor, the dude gave me an attitude because I didn't buy the injectors from him. Like, he told me that he sold injectors, and when I went for the first tune, I was like, all right, cool, I'll keep you in mind. And I had Summit bucks, so I ordered my injectors from Summit, ended up saving some money. And when I got there, he was like, oh, why you didn't order them from me, and this and that. And the dude gave me an attitude, and then ended up trying to charge me more for the retune than he quoted me in the first place, because I didn't buy the injectors from him. And I had to tell him, hey, because you didn't, make that clear, I'm paying you what you quoted me. That's just what it is. And because of that, I don't think I'm gonna go back there. But the car is running good. I'll say that. He did put in the numbers for the D-Shrex injector, so everything's good. It's just not fine tuned, but everything's running smooth. Everything's where it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna be on the lookout for another tuner. Anybody in the Georgia or Southern area that knows a tuner that's good with LS's, let me know. You know, I'm open. I'll do some research and see who I find. But that's where we are right now. The car's running good. Everything's straight. So got a car show this weekend. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'll be seeing y'all real soon. So I'm going to end it here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see y'all next time.